how compensation really works. Welcome back to the Surrogacy Quick Start Guide. We're going to be talking about something that a lot of potential surrogates are curious about, but sometimes a little bit unsure how to ask. And that's, how does compensation actually work? How do surrogates get paid? Where does the money come from? And how do you make sure that everything is fair, secure, and squared away? Let's walk through it together. What's included in surrogate compensation? Let's start with the basics. A full compensation package usually includes a few key parts. Number one is base compensation. This is the main payment for carrying a pregnancy. Monthly allowance or reimbursements are smaller amounts. It's usually for regular payments like gas and parking, prenatal vitamins, support bands, prenatal massage, those sorts of things. And then lost wages. If you need to take time off work during pregnancy, like if you have a hospital stay, and then also for recovery after birth. And then there are procedure fees, like if you have an embryo transfer, which is hopefully gonna happen as a surrogate, but then C-section and fees for pumping milk after delivery. All of those things count underneath your procedure fees. The starting point for that base compensation part is usually around $50,000. From there, the total can increase depending on a number of different things, but like experience, location, and preferences. Now, agencies will sometimes advertise things like, you can make up to $90,000 or more, or $120,000 compensation package. And sometimes it's true in certain circumstances, in certain cases, but oftentimes it's misleading because what they're actually trying to do is lure you in with a really big number that includes some compensation that isn't guaranteed and you're probably never going to actually get. How and when payments are made. Here's something that can surprise some first-time surrogates or people that are new to this world. You don't get paid in one big lump sum at the beginning. Base compensation is actually split into about 10 monthly payments, and it doesn't start until pregnancy is confirmed. Every contract is written a little bit different, but in general, your monthly payments begin around week 6 or week 8 of pregnancy, and other payments like for transfers or medication or C-section happen as needed. And then you usually have a final payment somewhere around delivery. Who pays you? Your compensation comes directly from the intended parents, not the agency. That means real people are funding this experience right out of their own pocket. Sometimes you actually might need to even pay for things up front. Those are usually small things like prescriptions or a copay at a doctor's office, and then you have to wait to be reimbursed. This is one of the reasons why it's important to be financially stable before starting. You don't want to be in a position where having to pay for gas or a medication causes you so much financial stress while you're waiting to be refunded. That said, you should be made whole. Being a surrogate shouldn't cost you anything in the end. Escrow, trust, and red flags. Let's talk about how the money gets to you and how to keep it safe. Most journeys use something called escrow, and this is like a special bank account managed by a third-party company. The escrow company's job is to hold your funds, so hold the money and make the payments to you during your surrogacy journey. Think about it like a secure middleman. It's someone who is making sure that you're getting paid on time and everything is done according to the contract that you and your lawyer agreed to. Now, in some states, escrow is required, but in most states, it isn't. That means you don't have to use an escrow. There are other ways to make payments. If you don't use an escrow, some other options are a trust account, which are managed by attorneys and law firms, a joint bank account between you and intended parents, or sometimes payments done through Zelle or QuickPay or personal checks. But here's our recommendation. A formal trust account or an escrow really is the safest. It makes sure that the money owed to you is reserved and accounted for. And then it also takes away the awkward money conversations. A lot of us don't really love talking about money in that kind of way. A red flag to watch out for, though, is if an agency says that they are going to be holding your money themselves. If they say they have an in-house escrow, that's a major conflict of interest. We have seen way too many situations where surrogates or intended parents are misled and never get their money. So always ask, Who is holding the money? And is it an independent escrow or trust company? If it's not clear or if something feels off, definitely ask more questions. And if you need to, walk away from that situation. Some final thoughts here. Talking about money, as I said, can feel awkward, but it's an important part of protecting yourself and feeling valued for what you are giving as a surrogate. You can try the compensation tools inside the Bloombridge Surrogacy app to explore what your compensation package could look like. Remember, it's okay to ask questions, research is key, and the right match is worth the wait. What's next? So next up, in the final part of this series, we're going to be walking through how matching with intended parents actually works and how to protect yourself in the process. We're going to be talking about the different types of matching, so either with an agency or independently, and what makes a match feel right. Also, we're going to be digging into some red flags that you need to watch out for. You'll want to listen to this before you say yes to an intended parent or even an agency. We're almost done, so let's keep going.